Heavy rain and tornadoes injure 11 in Oklahoma. According to NBC, tornadoes ripped through Oklahoma City Saturday and Sunday, leaving 11 people with mostly non-life-threatening injuries. Additionally, power lines and homes were leveled by the EF3 level storms, causing Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt to declare a state of emergency. The Weather Service office in Norman issued storm watches until earlier this morning. Speakers at a Trump rally at Madison Square Garden denounced Kamala Harris. Per the AP, multiple speakers at the event spoke down on the Democratic candidate, calling her the devil and accusing her of prostitution. Stand-up comic Tony Hinchcliffe, a speaker at the rally, referred to Puerto Rico as a, quote, floating island of garbage. Trump's campaign later stated that Hinchcliffe's statement does not align with the views of his campaign. Donald Trump announces plans to replace the current FBI director. Per CNN, the president-elect plans to nominate former federal prosecutor Kash Patel for FBI director. Patel has remained a fixture in Trump's orbit since 2018 and has vocalized his criticisms towards the, quote, deep state. Patel's selection comes with bipartisan controversy as Trump replaces current director Christopher Wray, who he had originally appointed. Moving to West Africa, 29 children could be sentenced to death following protests in Nigeria. Per CNN, a total of 76 protesters were arrested and charged after participating in a protest against the country's cost of living crisis. The charges include felony counts, including treason and mutiny. The 29 minors involved are ages 14 to 17. Nigeria's cost of living crisis has caused multiple mass protests in recent months. Georgia's prime minister rejects claims of vote rigging. According to the BBC, the Prime Minister of Georgia's Dream Party stated his landslide victory in the election was an irregularity. The Dream Party won by 54%, despite opposing TV channels stating that 4 opposition parties beat them. Georgia's President Salome Zoribikvele condemned total falsification of the vote and called for opposition supporters to rally outside Parliament today. 44 people were hospitalized in Georgia after police deployed water cannons and tear gas Sunday night during a protest against suspending European Union negotiations. Per NPR, thousands of protesters gathered outside the Georgian parliament, throwing rocks and setting off fireworks. Georgian Prime Minister Irakli Kobakhidze stated that reports that negotiations have halted are false and that any violence will be met with, quote, the full rigor of the law. Now to Caitlin with your local news. The Boston streets were filled with shouts of celebration and echoes of pride at the 127th Boston Marathon, proving that 10 years after the Boston Marathon bombing, nothing can keep this city silent.
This is our first ever Boston Marathon, so I think we're all just really excited to be here for the first time and be in the environment. It's really cool so far, so.
The marathon is one of the most notable events in Boston, as it is almost always held on Patriots' Day to commemorate the first battles of the American Revolution and celebrate the start of spring. The marathon brings spectators and runners from all around the world together, celebrating unity more than competition.
There were several runners. They would see the finish line and then suddenly collapse. And then then other runners would help them up. And so when I see these people make it, I get so much joy. I get tears in my eyes.
Security was especially hands-on, as this year's marathon marks the 10-year anniversary since 2 pressure cooker bombs exploded near the finish line, killing 3 people and leaving hundreds more injured.
Well, every year is important security. As you guys know, the bombing that happened a while back. So it's good to check, have all these security checkpoints.
I live in California, but I come out here because my daughter ran the marathon in 2013, the year of the bombing. So I've always had a special affinity for Boston Marathon, and I tried for years to get to volunteer, and I was finally picked 4 years ago, and now I've come back every year.
The winners of the race included Evans Chibet for the men's leg of the marathon and Helen O'Beary for the women's leg. The Boston Marathon is truly a once-in-a-lifetime event. Not only does it bring together the Boston community, but it brings the global community along with it. Reporting from Copley for GMBU, I'm Hailey Pitcher. Lower Broadway has begun gearing up for its annual 4th of July festivities. In previous years, upwards of 300,000 people attended.
And we're here to look after you, to make sure that you connect with your friends, have a great, safe time in Nashville.
But on the forefront of one local program's mind is how a night of fun can turn dangerously wrong. In March, the body of college student Riley Strain was found in the Cumberland after a night out on Broadway. Police say he died from intoxication and drowning. National Director of Red Frogs USA, Dan Terry, says Red Frogs hopes to ease those worries and assist if the unthinkable happens.
Because we believe that one sexual assault is one too many and one death is one too many. And as the Red Frogs, we want to make sure that the incidents like, Riley Strain or other incidents that have happened, that they never happen again.
Over 30 volunteers with Red Frogs USA provide essentials such as water, phone chargers, and even walks home.
We say we're everyone's best friend. You always need that person to have that phone charger, to give you that cup of water, and make sure that you get home safely.
To stay safe and spangled this 4th of July, Red Frogs recommends wearing sunscreen, traveling in groups, avoiding dimly lit areas, and most of all, staying hydrated.
We really exist to be that fence at the top of the cliff, not the ambulance at the bottom. So if we can do anything we can to make sure that we get to someone just in time, not just after time, makes such a big difference. And
in Nashville, Hailey Pitcher, News 2.